again. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love is Blind, Season 3, Episode 2. Um, I have to say I was pleasantly surprised by Brennan because obviously we all saw what Alexa looked like, and she did mention that she felt she could lose some weight, and but she didn't want to, and she was happy in herself. And so I think because of society and their perception of beauty, people tend to sort of or guys tend to go after a particular type of woman or looks a certain type. So I was pleasantly surprised when Brennan saw Alexa and how happy he was to see her. He never once brought up anything about her body type or her image. He kept reassuring her and he kept telling her he loved her. He kept, making sure that she knew he was happy. And I liked his first impression, his first reaction when he saw her. And so you could tell that Alexa was very nervous. I think she was nervous because she didn't know how he was going to accept her, seeing as she knows the society's perception of beauty. So I like the fact that he lived up to what the show is, that love is blind, and he sort of was in love with the person and not the way they looked. And he kept telling her, I love you, I love you. I think because he could tell she was nervous and she was worried that he might turn around and say no. So I have high hopes for them. I hope society and society's perception of beauty don't impact them. As I said before, they remind me a lot of Danielle and Nick from season 2. Somehow I always get this Danielle and Nick feeling every time I see them, but hey, it is what it is. And then from there we go on to but the triangle Batiste, Raven and SK. I like SK. I said this yesterday that I really like SK. I think Raven was not as into Batiste as she was into SK. This is obvious. And I think she might have just been going along with Batiste just because she was told you need more than one connection. Because he was busy telling her, his story about his parents and stuff and what led to them sort of filing for a divorce, and she was busy doing jumping jacks and busy exercising. And he actually called her out and said, I'm busy pouring my heart out to you, and this is the way you're behaving. And so I don't think she was interested in him at all. I think she was just going along with him just for the motions. And so it was surprising how Baptiste, once he went back to the guys and sort of said, oh, with Raven, it wasn't it. He didn't want, I think he didn't want the other guys to know that Raven had actually broken up with him because he knew that SK was going to go after after Raven. He and SK were going after the same girl, and yet it was surprising Raven's reaction when SK confided in Raven that he comes from a polygamy family. His dad had more than one wife, and you could see that Raven immediately sat down. She stopped exercising, sat down, and listened to what he was saying, and that shows a lot of, I think, that she was paying attention. She was very respectful to him, and I think that's because she cared more for him than she did um Baptiste. And so I wasn't surprised when SK proposed to her and she said yes, because I could see, I think SK, I think to Raven, Baptiste represented the type of guys she's dated, and SK represents the guy that she would want to date or the guy she would want to marry, more or less like the Mallory, but Jared and Sal scenario, whereby Jared represented the type of guys that Mallory was used to dating, and Sal was the type of guys that she knew she was supposed to marry, or the type of guy she felt her family would be more accepting towards. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes with them. And then Baptiste obviously once Craven turned him down. He then went on and started to charm Nancy and bought her flowers and stuff. And I think this is because he just wants to stay on the show. Everybody knows in order to stay on the show or in order to be featured, you need to be engaged to somebody. And I think this is what he's going for. Does he fancy Nancy? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Because I know there was the issue whereby Nancy was concerned about their age difference, and I don't know whether Batista is mature enough to sort of be married to someone and stay married to someone. I don't know. We'll see how they go, but I don't know. And the problem is because Batiste is now going after Nancy. Andrew is also going after Nancy, but Andrew I don't think is genuine. Andrew for me, I think is just someone who's on the show to be famous. That's just the impression that I'm getting because I think he was I read this online on Twitter somewhere, and I think the producers brought him in specifically for that reason, because they knew he would create all the drama and whatever else is going on, and because the way he name drops. I've been here, I've been there, and the way he brags, "Oh, I had this company budget for this and that." If you've been exposed to all this, why are you on Love is Blind? Why couldn't you meet someone in the real world? What is it about you that turns people away from you? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know why Andrew's on the show. I don't know who Nancy's going to say yes to, whether it's going to be Baptiste or Alexandra. But I don't know. Sorry, I keep calling him Andrew. I don't know who she's going to choose between Baptiste and or Alexandra. But neither one of them. I think she should say no to both of them. I don't think both of them are ideal for her. The only reason she would be on the show and say yes to one of them is just to be dragged along like Dipti was last year by Shake. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, and then from the call, I was pleasantly surprised by Cole and Zainab. Pleasantly surprised by Cole and Zainab because I remember Cole told Colin that he wasn't feeling it. So and he was quite shallow at the start when he sort of told Bran, I don't do nurses. So I was surprised that he actually then sort of calmed down and went after Zainab, and he proposed to Zainab, and he seemed very excited to see Zainab the way he ran towards her. I thought he was going to drop her. So I don't know. We'll see how they go, but they seem like a great couple. We'll see how they go, but I don't know. I think at times for me, I think it becomes a bit more competitive where people are dating the same person and they just go all out and continue to pursue that person even if there's no connection. That's the impression that I'm getting with some of these people. And then Colin is a typical example. Colin, I think, has pulled a Shayna on Matt in the sense that Shayna wanted Kyle, and when Kyle proposed to Natalie, Shayna then just accepted Kyle's proposal, knowing that she never wanted Kyle. And this is the same thing. Colin went after Brandon. Brandon turned her down. Then she went after Cole. Cole turned her down, and now she's with Matt. She says, "Oh, this is a third connection. It was not as great as the others." I think Colin is just playing a role, just like Alexander. I wish Colin and Alexander would have coupled up because then they are just playing the part and they will just provide us the entertainment we need until the show ends. Um, and so the reason why I say she's playing the part is because every time Matt said something, I want someone who always sees the bright side of life. I want someone who's always going to push me. That is me, that is me. And it's like, well, if that was you, if you had said that to Brandon and to call to call they wouldn't have broken up with you. They broke up with you because they realized you're very shallow. Be who you are. It's not a must for you to leave the show engaged. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I don't get why you keep pushing it so hard that you really need to leave the show with someone. And I'm a bit surprised. There were so many beautiful African American girls, and yet we never saw any one of their dates apart from Bran when we saw her being told by Cole that I don't do nurses. Everybody else, we've just seen them sitting in the lounge, sort of being a friend to someone or listening to somebody else's conversation. I don't know why they keep doing that. I said this yesterday. They need to give us a few minutes of each person's date. The first episode, I think, at least for the first episode, they need to give us just a few minutes of every single, so that we see the connection that people are having and why it is working out or why it's not working out for certain people. Not just to focus on the people that they want to, or the people that provide the drama. Hey, but anyway, it is what it is. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye everyone.